Hello everyone. Now we have to move towards the next point from this unit, that is stability of a control system. Okay, so I think this is the most important criteria of the characteristics of a system, and every control system designer want that the system should be operate in a stable mode so that you can get your desired output. Okay, so that's why the stability of the system of any system is very important issue, we can say, and we have to care about that. So that's why we have to see this stability criteria or stability point in deep, and what do you mean by stability, that we have to see. Then after that, which care should be taken while deciding the system is stable or not, which criteria should be taken. Okay, so that we have to see, and how to find the system is stable or not with the help of that criteria that we have to see. Okay, so let's start this lecture. So let's start with this new point, that is the stability. Okay, so first of all, before starting the stability, we have to see what do you mean by stable system. Okay, so if you see a linear time invariant system, so what do you mean by linear time and invariant system, that we have seen previously. Okay, so a linear time invariant system is stable if following conditions are satisfied. Okay, and the first condition is a bounded input is given to the system, the response of the system is bounded and controllable. Okay, suppose if you apply the bounded input, what do you mean by bounded input, we will see in graph, don't worry about that. Whenever the bounded input is applied to the system, the response output should be again bounded. Okay, so bounded is nothing but some range of the inputs, it is having some range of the inputs or set of the inputs, we can say. The response should be bounded, and the most important thing is that it must be controllable. Okay, so this is the first criteria. Second is in the absence of inputs, the output should tend to 0 as time increases. Okay, so if you see any system, then if there are no any inputs, then after some time we can say its output should be 0. Okay, so output should tend to 0 as time increases. The meaning of this is like this one. Okay, so that's why in the absence of the inputs, generally system must be at a 0, and even if it is not showing you output as a 0, after some time it should give output as a 0 when we remove the input. Okay, so that is the definition of this second point. So if these two criteria satisfy, then we can say that the system is a stable system. Okay, sometimes what happens is there are something energy storage elements are present, and when the capacitor or something energy storage elements are having that energy stored in that component, so at the output you may get the continuous output even if we are not having even if we have not applied any input. Okay, so we have to take care of that. So this is all about the stable or stability of the system. Okay, so let us see with the help of some graph what do you mean by stable system. So here if you see the bounded input and bounded output of the stable system, it is shown in the left diagram over here. Okay, so if you see here, this is the time, and time axis, that is x axis, and y axis is the output or a CT, we can say. So here as you know already, the bounded input is nothing but the input given in some range, but here only one set is shown, and if you apply this bounded input, obviously you will get some oscillations, but that is in the something your specified range. Okay, or your designed range, and after that in that range only you will get the output. It will not fluctuate so much, its amplitude may not be higher than that bounded output or the set of range, and after that it will try to stable within some range, and so that is called as a bounded output. Okay, so this is the bounded input, bounded output for a stable system. Now if you see this right side diagram, that is S plane, this diagram is very important to understand the stability of a system. Okay, now if you see this diagram, so this is j omega axis, that is y axis, so this is x axis. Okay, so here this is the S plane that we have seen previously, and location of a root for a stable system is as shown in this diagram. Okay, suppose the system is stable, and if the equation is given to you, and if you find the roots of that locations, or root locations, then location of the roots in LHP of the S plane. Okay, so this is LHP. So this is the location of a roots for a stable system. So if you are getting a location of the roots over here in LHP side, okay, rather than this RHP side, then we can say that the system is stable. Okay, so in upcoming examples we will see more about this. Okay, so let us see the next, unstable. Now whatever the definition of the stable system that we have seen, exactly opposite the definition of the unstable system will be there. Okay, so if you see unstable system, a linear time invariant system comes under the class of unstable system if system is excited by bounded input and response is unbounded. Okay, suppose a set of inputs are given within a range, but you are not getting output as expected, output in the expected range, and it is undesirable or unexpected, then the response is called as unbounded. Okay, and such system is called as unstable system. Secondly, this means once any input is given to the system, output goes on increasing and designer does not have any control on it. Okay, so means whenever the designer gives any input and output go on increasing, and designer does not having any control over that, so how to decrease that and all. Okay, so designer don't know how why that output is increasing continuously. Okay, so some mistakes may be there, and that must be reduced to convert that unstable system into stable. Okay, so such a system is called as unstable. So whatever we have seen, that is exactly opposite to the stable system, that is unstable. Okay, now if you see the unstable systems response and the locations of roots, again that will be again exactly opposite to stable system. First of all, let's see this left side diagram. So in this diagram, again if you see, this is the x-axis, this is the time, and this is the y-axis, that is output or CT. Even if it is not shown here, it is a CT, that I think you know this. Previously we have seen number of diagrams like this. So here, suppose if I apply the input somewhere here, okay, or something range from this to this, okay, so that can be called as a bounded input. But for the understanding of this, suppose the input is given like this, and here suppose you are getting output like this. Okay, so no doubt if you take any system, there are different types of responses, like a transient and stable steady state. So obviously different types of time specifications will be there, and initially we will get some fluctuation, we will get overshoot, undershoot, like this. Okay, and after that, generally stable systems tries to acquire the desired output, okay, or the output set by the user. But in unstable system, this fluctuation go on increasing. Okay, and user is not having, or designer is not having any control over that. Okay, so these outputs are generally unbounded outputs, means we don't have any idea about that output, what will be the expected range of this plus minus and all these things. Okay, so that's why this can be called as unbounded output. Okay, so here although we have applied bounded input, the output may be unbounded. So that's why this system can be called as a unstable system. And no doubt no designer wants this unstable system, no one wants the unstable system, because for any application you want your system as stable. Okay, so that is the important thing that you have to keep in mind. So if you see again this S plane, this is the y-axis, this is the x-axis, this is the RHP side of the S plane, this is the whole is the S plane, and the location of roots for unstable system will be to the right side. Okay, so we will see that how the locations are shown on a graph, and how to find that roots and location of the roots, and how to decide the stable and unstable system with the help of different criteria. Out of that, one most important criteria we have to study in that is added in your syllabus. Okay, so this is all about the unstable system. I think you got the idea about stable and unstable. Just to revise this, see the stable systems, it is showing you a bounded input, and the response is bounded again, or within a range, and location of roots for a stable system in left side. And for unstable system, it is exactly opposite. Although you have applied bounded input, the output is unbounded, and the location of roots for unstable system will be always in a RHP. Okay, but one thing I want to tell you, that we have discussed about this left side LHP, we have discussed about this RHP. What will happen, or what will be the definition of that system if your location of roots will be on this y-axis, okay, neither to right side, neither to left side. So what will be the definition of that system? Will be it stable, or will be it unstable, or will be it both? So just think about this, or otherwise we will cover in upcoming slides. Okay, so just think over about this, what will be your conclusion and thinking. Okay, so this is all about the stable system and unstable systems definition. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay, so whatever the point that we have discussed about, that we have to continue now, that is a critically stable system. Okay, so when the input is given to a linear time invariant system, for a critically stable system, the output does not go on increasing infinitely, nor does it go to 0 as time increases. Okay, so now see here, I want to mention one important thing. Suppose here your system is there and you don't know which type of a system is that. Okay, and suppose you have applied the bounded input, and you know that initially you will get some fluctuation like this. Okay, and after that stable system will try to acquire this reference or your desired output, and exactly opposite happens in unstable system, that it will continuously oscillate, and the oscillations amplitude or undershoots or overshoots amplitude will continuously increase, and this will be unbounded output. Okay, now there will be another thing. Suppose your system will give you a bounded output, okay, for bounded input, but suppose this oscillations continue with the same amplitude, or the amplitude within that bounded range. So what will be that system? Is it stable or unstable? Okay, so the solution is here, that will be called as a critically stable. Okay, neither it is crossing your we can say bounded range of output, and neither it is going to 0 as time increases, that we have discussed about the stable system. Because in stable system you will get some fluctuations, or we can say oscillations, and after that it will output will go to that oscillation will go to 0, means what, it will acquire the required response. And in unstable system, what happens, the oscillations amplitude increases, but in critically stable system, that oscillations, we can say, does not increase infinitely, but it will be having some amplitude, and will oscillate in a given range and in given bounded output set. So that is called as a critically stable system. Okay, so the output usually oscillates in a finite range or remains steady at a some value. Okay, so that oscillations will not be having any higher value of amplitudes, but still it will oscillate. Okay, so it will be having some characteristics of a stable and as well as unstable also. Okay, so such system can be called as a critically stable. So it is noted over here. Such systems are not stable as their response does not decay to 0, and neither they are defined as unstable because their output does not go on increasingly infinitely, just I have discussed earlier. Okay, so such a system can be called as a critically stable system. So this is all about the critically stable system. And what about the location of roots that I have discussed earlier? Let's see what results that we are getting over here. Okay, now see here, this is called as a bounded input and output response for critically stable system. Here we have applied bounded input, no doubt, and here we are getting oscillations, but these oscillations are not increasing continuously. Its amplitude is not increasing continuously. It will remain in a bounded range, means from this to this range, we can say. It will not cross, or it will not give you another peak value in overshoot and another peak value in undershoot. Okay, it will just oscillate continuously, or even somewhere it will, the oscillations of amplitude or amplitude of this oscillations will be like this also, within this range also. Okay, such system can be called as a critical stable systems. They are not showing you the characteristics of they cannot be called as stable, as well as they cannot be called as unstable. Means what, they are showing characteristics of a stable systems as well as unstable system that we have discussed earlier. Okay, so if you see such a system, such a systems are called as a stable system. And now the interesting thing is that as they are not having any stable definition and unstable definition, or stable characteristics and unstable characteristics to define clearly. So that's why if we see the S plane, okay, the location of the roots will be on j omega axis, that is the y axis over here. Okay, so the location of the roots for a critically stable system will be on y axis. They will not be on RHP or will not be in LHP. Okay, so I think you got the idea about the system. Okay, so we have seen the three types of systems, that is stable system, one is stable system, another is unstable system, and the third is a critical system or critically stable system, we can say. So here again, if you see in a critically stable system, the location of roots will be on y axis. For unstable system, the location of this roots will be in RHP, and for stable system, location of roots will be in LHP of a S plane. I think we have seen S plane in deep, and you have to see my previous lectures, video lectures, for the understanding of this S plane. Okay. Okay, now we have seen three types of system, that is, one is stable system, another is unstable system, and this third one is a critically stable system. Okay, and I think you now you have the clear idea about the stability of a system. What do you mean by stable system? What do you mean by stability? And how to identify the system is stable, unstable, or critically stable with the help of this S planes and the locations of these roots, that also we have seen. Okay, so now we have to move towards the next point, that is relative stability. Okay, so here a system may be absolutely stable, that is, it may have passed the root stability test. Okay, so here as a result their response decays to 0 under 0 input condition. So we have to see the concept of this relative stability, and for that we have to see the root stability test. Okay, so the ratio at which this decays to 0 is important to check the concept of a relative stability. Okay, so the meaning of this is that we have to see what do you mean by relative stability, and for that we have to pass the root stability test for any system function. Okay, so that we will see in upcoming lectures. Now when the poles are located far away from j omega axis in LHP of S plane, okay, the response decays to 0 much faster as compared to the poles close to j omega axis. Okay, so just read this again. When the poles are located far away from j omega axis in LHP of S plane, see, we are talking about poles, the response decays to 0 much faster as compared to the poles close to the j omega axis. Okay, the more the poles are located far away from j omega axis, the more is the system relatively stable. Okay, so this is the importance of a poles, because in previously we have discussed about this, and I have told you that these poles and zeros are very important for deciding the stability of the system. Number of times I have repeated that, and now in this unit we have to see what is the significance of these poles, because as it is clearly mentioned over here, as the poles are located far away from j omega axis of LHP of S planes, the response decays to 0 much faster, means what, the system will be stable. Okay, and the more the poles are located far away from a j omega axis, the more is the system is relatively stable. And this relative stability is again the meaning of this discussion of this both slides is nothing but this location of this poles from this j omega axis in LHP plane, and is the distance, or we can say just distance that decides the relative stability. Okay, so if you see the response comparison over here we will discuss about the response. Okay, now here in this diagram two systems response is shown. Okay, now if you see this diagram carefully, here you are getting a two response. One is system A response and another is system B response. Okay, so whatever the dotted line response is there like this, okay, that is your system B response, and whatever the this response is the continuous response, the response that is shown, continuous lines response is shown, that is nothing but your system A response. Okay, now if you observe this diagram, the input is again similar to the system. Okay, this is the input. If you carefully observe the straight line, okay, you can see it is unit step input for understanding. This is the CT, that is output, and this is with respect to T. Okay, now if you analyze the response of the system A and system B, let us see system B's response first. The response decays faster, settles quickly, relatively B is more stable than A. Why B is more stable than A? Because if you compare the both response over here, okay, see here, after the application of the input, the system B's response will be like this. It will fluctuate little more, little less than that system A, and it will try to settle before that A. Okay, so that's why we can say that the B is relatively more stable than A. No doubt both systems are stable, but we are talking about the relative stability. The system which response decays faster, settles quickly to the desired response, and in short we can say which is having a less transient response can be called as a more relative response, relative stable response, okay, than any system. Okay, here again if you see the system A response, this response decays slowly and which requires more settling time. Okay, so what do I mean by settling time, that also we have seen. Okay, so if you observe this again, both systems, again I am repeating, both systems are stable, but here we have to see which system settles more quickly and which response decays faster, which system is having less oscillations, which system is having less transient response, and such system can be called as more relative stable than another system. Okay, so this is all about the relative stability of a control system. Okay, so I think this much is sufficient, because in next lecture we have to start with the new point, that is Rao's criteria or stability criteria, and how to apply that and how to solve the example. Okay, so because in next lecture we will start with that new point, and in next lecture itself we will complete that criteria, so that's why I am not starting this in this lecture. Okay, so just note down the different points which are very important, that is stable, unstable, critically stable, relatively stable, or relative stability concept. And in next lecture we will see how to decide the stability of the system, or which system is stable or not. Okay, so I think for today's lecture this much is sufficient. Just revise each and every concept, and in next lecture we will start with the Rao's criteria or stability criteria. Okay, so thank you very much. We will see the more points, a few examples in next lecture. Thank you.